Hi and welcome to my latest video. Today I'm going to be looking at rust proofing. So my car is now about 13 years old and it's done 169,000 miles, so it's probably about time to have a look underneath and just see if there is any surface rust, see if anything needs treating or painting or protecting with some kind of coating to get the car ready for winter. Okay, so it's a nice sunny dry day here in the UK today. It's October the 2nd, I think, so autumn is here, and before I know it winter is going to be upon us. So that'll be salty spray on the roads and snow and slush and grit and everything else that goes with winter. Mud, leaves, all the kind of things that can cause rust underneath the car. So a good day today, I think, to put the car up on ramps, or put the back of the car up on ramps and get underneath. The front of the car is okay, because there's quite a lot of oil leaking from my engine, so there's no rust at all up the front of the car, but the back is probably in need of a bit of an inspection. So what have I got here? I've got a few products that I've acquired. So we've got our good old Hammerite paint here. It does say direct to rust. This is smooth silver Hammerite. Okay, so I've been using that before. That tub's nearly the tin is nearly empty now, and that's good. It's good stuff. You can paint it over the rust, and it is pretty strong, resilient paint that will protect things. And it does actually say there an 8-year protection. Okay, so a lot of people don't like that kind of thing. They don't like painting things with Hammerite. I think there's pros and cons, really. I mean, I have used it in the past. It's very good, but we've got to remember that if you paint over the rust is still there. It still exists. It's underneath the paint. Now the paint will seal it against oxygen and moisture, but the rust is still there. Okay, the iron oxide still remains as iron oxide. Okay, so what can we do to actually chemically change the rust so that it isn't iron oxide? Well, there are a number of products available which will do just that. So this is the Hammerite Q Rust. There's also Genolite, and I think Rust-Oleum also do their own equivalent. These are all the same kind of chemical kind of substance. It's usually phosphoric acid. Okay, so phosphoric acid will turn iron oxide into iron phosphate, which is a sort of black coloured compound. It's not like orange like rust. It goes black, and it makes it inert. Okay, so it no longer spreads, and it stops being rust. Okay, it turns it into a kind of a hard sort of substance which just won't spread any further. Okay, so you could use that. This is quite a liquid. Most of them are like a gel actually, which is quite nice for painting up underneath the car. You don't. Problem with this is that's going to be dripping in my face as I'm trying to paint it under the car. So one option would be to use some of that and let that kind of do its thing, and then protect over the top with paint. That's what I've done with my cars all my life, really. Okay, so I used to have old Minis and MGs, and they were terrible for rust. So it was phosphoric acid and then a decent paint that protected the metal against further corrosion. Nowadays there are other things available. Okay, so one of the ones that everyone's talking about at the moment is Lanoguard. Okay, so Lanoguard is a sort of waxy oil. It's actually made from lanolin, which is an oil derived from sheep's wool. So I'm guessing they shear the sheep and boil the wool or whatever they do, and some kind of oily waxy substance comes out of it. Okay, so this is a big kind of bottle of a runny oily substance which you can spray on. You brush it on, spray on, or apply it however you want, but it will kind of protect over the top. It will form like a sort of waxy coat, a bit like the old wax oil stuff that used to be able to get. You still can get that now. I used to use that years ago, but this is like the modern equivalent, and it will seal the rust against moisture and oxygen, and it also is very good at kind of creeping into all the kind of nooks and crannies and actually getting right into that rust. It's got good spreading capabilities, and also with the sprayer you can spray it into box sections and up underneath the areas that you can't get to with a brush, and I've heard very, very good reports on that. Never tried it, so I'm going to give it a go. Okay, so I bought this lot as a pack. It wasn't cheap, £80. Okay, I paid for this and the sprayer. There is a cheaper one available, which is just the bottle and the sprayer. You probably actually get a sort of hand trigger spray as well, but I thought I'd spend the money and buy the proper sort of proper kit. This is what comes with it in the £80 pack, and this is some sort of, they call it moto grease. I mean, it's basically a thicker version of this. It's like a wax grease, thick grease, as opposed to a sprayable oil. So I'm going to give those a go, okay, and what I will do in this video is I'm just going to sort of spray some up underneath, around the underside of the boot floor, the suspension. Obviously don't get any of these on the brake discs or brake pads or anything like that, but on this sort of suspension and chassis, this is perfect. What I'm not sure about, and I really couldn't find an answer to this on Google or asking on the forums, is am I meant to use like this then that, or am I meant to paint and then seal over the top with that? I don't know if I'm meant to use a combination. Do I just literally spray that on the rust? Surely if I do that, the rust will still exist underneath, a bit like if you paint it with this. So that worries me. Okay, I can put a waxy oily film over the top of the rust and seal it against moisture and oxygen, but it'll still be rust. The rust will still be there. So surely I want to use this first and then seal with this. So what I thought I'd do in this video is actually just do some different combinations. So we can try that, we can try that, we can try that, and then we can try maybe that, then that, that, then that, or possibly all three, and paint different parts of the underside with different combinations of these three products. And then in 6 months' time, in the spring, once all that sort of winter salt and snow and everything is set to work attacking the underside of my car, I can actually have a look and just see which one worked best. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. In this video I'm just going to do some general underbody treatment. What I will do, I'll probably do a part 2 actually, where I'm going to remove all the wheel arches. I ought to remove the front wheel arches as well. God knows what's behind those really, but the back wheel arches, I did actually remove those a couple of years ago when I did my suspension lift, and I actually, there was some surface rust underneath, so I treated that and I actually painted that with the silver hammerite. Okay, so it'd be very interesting to see how that has lasted. Okay, so I'm not going to take the wheel arches out today. I'll do that maybe next weekend, get those out, and also ought to really try and get these, cast too much shadow here, get these kind of sill cover things off, okay, because they can trap mud and water, and everybody I ever know who's removed those has found rust or worse underneath. Okay, so definitely need to remove those, and at very least treat that area with the Lanoguard, just so that when I go wading and that area gets submerged in water, it's not actually going to wet the metal with water that's going to then remain trapped in there, corroding the steel. Okay, so okay, I'm going to get the car up on ramps and have a look underneath and just see what it looks like. Okay, so I've put the car up on ramps. I've also put this plastic dust sheet down there so that if I am spraying and painting things up underneath and then drips kind of fall on the ground, it won't sort of make a mess of the block pave. So let's just have a quick look under here. It's not too bad. Actually, it's not too bad. There are some areas like this where there is a bit of surface rust up kind of up here, up around on the sort of the underside of the actual bodywork. This is the subframe here. This is my fuel tank guard, my Mantec fuel tank guard. I'm not going to remove that today, although at some point I ought to have a look behind that and just see what's hiding. There's quite a lot of mud and kind of grime and everything up under here, but rust wise not too bad. Even here, hopefully you can see this, it's a bit dark under here, but there was a heat shield here, okay, which it started rattling and coming. It broke away from these mounting points, so I just got rid of it. The boot floor is a little warmer than it should be, but it's fine. The exhaust silencer here does radiate a bit of heat, but there's a good sort of inch gap between that and the underside of the boot floor. Looking up in here, these are probably the worst areas, okay, so there is some surface rust around here. Some of these kind of sort of mounting points are a bit rusty, but there's no sort of holes or anything like that. Now, interestingly, here over on this other side, this is the recovery point on the back. This whole kind of recovery point bracket here is quite rusty, but the bodywork it's bolted to is not too bad. So maybe at some point I might try and take that off and give it a bit of a coat of paint. I will at some point be removing the rear bumper, as I'm actually going to be fitting another recovery point on this side of the car. Okay, so the holes are already there, and you can, I've seen it done actually. Joel Self, who runs the off-road group, the Freelander 2 off-road Facebook group, he's an outdoor instructor, and his Land Rover Freelander 2 is fully kitted out for recovery chores out on Salisbury Plain. So he's fitted another one of these, okay, and as far as I can tell from the photos that he took when he did it, he just bought another one of these, cut this brackety bit off, and actually bolted it in on the other side, and all you have to really do is cut a hole in the plastic bumper, and that's it. So I will get one of these and see if I can put a second recovery point on the other side. But for now, this could probably do with a bit of Lanoguard or something on it to just rust proof it. I can't really see anything here that would benefit from sort of hammerite, although Genelite might be worth putting a bit here. Like this is sort of the worst bits really, these bits here, which even though this is not bodywork, this is subframe, it's these kind of like mud trap bits like up in here where I don't really want to just paint grease over the top of those already. I want to actually kill that rust and you know, sort of just then protect it once the rust is turned into something non-rusty. Everything else is fine here. Now, one thing that's very, very interesting I've noticed. Look at this hub carrier. Look how rusty it is. Everything around it isn't too bad, but this is definitely brown in colour. Now, this hub carrier was changed last summer when I did the wheel bearing, and I did electrolysis on the hub carrier to remove all the rust. I wire brushed it down with a drill wire brush, and I sprayed it with silver hammerite paint, and that was only 12 months ago, and now it's rusty. So I think that answers our question about silver hammerite paint. It's just not good enough. I'm not seeing any silver colour here. I mean, I don't know what happened. That the paint that I put on is just gone. It's as if it washed off or something. So yeah, I don't think I'm going to be using that silver hammer. If this is what it looks like after 12 months, that's not 8-year protection. Sorry. I'm not going to be using that. So I think Lanoguard is the way to go, possibly with some of the Q rust underneath it to just protect the sort of really bad areas. You can see here, up in here, there's a bit here. One other thing I'm noticing here is now, where is it? Yeah, difficult to see actually. The inside of the inner sills. Now, hopefully you can see this. Yeah, the camera's sort of underexposing. This one here isn't too bad. There's a little tiny bit of surface rust here. Let's have a look at the other side. Oh dear, the sunshine is now going to definitely cause us a problem here. Try and shuffle further over. This is really difficult. Okay, so this sill here is the driver's side sill, and here there's a bit of surface rust. It's not too bad, and I'm really hoping that behind these covers there isn't anything horrible lurking. Also down there, where the jacking point is towards the front, there's a bit of surface rust on the sill here, on the inside of the sill. So I'll need to Lanoguard all that. These mounting points here, again, bit of surface rust. The front of the car, the exhaust is the rustiest bit, really. The whole front of the car just has this black, oily film all over it. Now, I know oil leaks are a bit of a pain, but they do serve a good purpose. And that has kept rust well and truly at bay up the front of the car. That's all just dark, oily grime coloured at the front, which is fine because that's better than rust. Okay, so so where the oil was dribbling down from the duct before I had my catch can, that all kind of ended up getting swept back under the car. It's a shame that none of it reached the back of the car, but yeah, I mean, there's always going to be a bit of oil. There's some of the sump seals and the intercooler pipe work and that. I've actually got the catch can and a recirculate mode at the moment for the MOT, which was back in August, so I still haven't changed that, but there's going to be some oil going through the ducts and through the intercooler, but it can leak out through the joints and things like that, so it's fine. It's fine, the car's running okay, and the oil is helping to keep the rust at bay up the front, so I'm not too worried about that. There's areas like this here, where this is like the inner wheel arch, and then we've got, God knows what we've got here, I don't know what that is there. Some sort of weird, that's plastic, that's plastic. Yeah, so that up there is just going to be a mud trap, really. I will have to remove these wheel arch liners and just see what's up under there. I don't know what this huge hole is. God knows what lives up in there. So, okay. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the Genolite, or whatever it's called, Q rust, and just treat a few of these particularly rusty spots, and then I'm going to spray Lanoguard. Oh, and even though the car's on ramps, it is difficult crawling about under here. Wish I had a 4-post lift. So areas like this, I don't really want to just Lanoguard that. I'd rather actually get rid of this rust. Just too worried that it's going to continue to spread, even with the Lanoguard over it. You see here, there's mud getting trapped up around bits of metal. Okay, right. Okay, let's get spraying and painting. Okay, so what I'm doing here, I've got this, poured some of this Q rust stuff into a little plastic bowl. It's kind of like a creamy grey liquid. It's like milk. It's very runny, and it's it's dripping everywhere, which is not good. I mean, I've got gloves and goggles on, but it says keep it off your kitty away, don't away, good kids. You see, there's a problem. It's dripped over there. She's about to walk in it now. Psst, away. Yeah, I don't like this stuff. Okay, really not impressed with this. It's too runny. I'm painting it on and it's just dripping everywhere. Okay, just pretty awful, really. I don't recommend it at all. So it's fine if you're painting a surface from above, but up under your car it's just not suitable. Genelite is a similar thing that's like a gel, so maybe that's better. I'm now starting to kind of think it was a bit of a mistake trying to put this stuff on first. It may be, there's probably a lot of you watching now going, you don't need to do that, you just put the Lanoguard on over the top of the rust. Okay, so I just wanted to really just try and give it a bit of extra protection, try to convert this rust into something that's not going to spread underneath the Lanoguard, if that even happens. So okay, I'm just going to do this area here and maybe a tiny bit up in there, and that's it. Then this is going to get tipped away, and yeah, I think I'll probably just dump the whole container of it, because it's no use really. I'll probably save it for when I'm actually working on objects on the bench where I want to give them some rust conversion before fitting them onto the car. Right, okay, yeah, no good for underneath the car work. Okay, so I've got the Lanoguard going now, so take the lid off, screw in the cap that sort of sits on this hose thing. There's actually a nice little metal clip, a little E-clip on the hose, just at the right height for the cap to screw on, so that the tube sticks down to the bottom of the bottle, which is quite a nice touch. And then loosen the nozzle a little bit, give it a few pumps, and the Lanoguard liquid has come up all the way to here. And I haven't actually sprayed any yet, so it'd be interesting to see what nozzle setting I need. Some people have found that this stuff really thickens up in cold weather. It's t-shirt weather at the moment here in the UK. It is October, but it's nice warm sunny day. It's probably about 20 degrees, maybe 22 degrees. It's quite nice. So this is flowing no problem at all. The grease stuff that they give you, that's pretty thick, and it can kind of almost solidify like wax if it's cold. So they recommend standing the pot in some warm water for a few minutes before using it, just to kind of soften it. I don't think I'll have any issues today with that. I'm going to do some spraying first of all, and then I will open up that thicker grease and see if I can brush a bit of that on, just to see what it looks like. Right, okay, let's give this a go. Now, I don't quite know how I'm going to do. It's too low under here for the tripod. I do have a little flexi tripod thing somewhere. I'll give it a go with holding the camera by hand and just see how we get on. Okay, so right, here goes. Now I'm just gonna now what I want to do is spray far away from me at first, and then work backwards, otherwise I'm just going to get a face full of this stuff. Right, let's spray this. Right, nothing's happening. Oh, there we go. Okay, no, that's pretty good actually. It's kind of like a fine mist. You can adjust the nozzle so that it comes out more of a sort of spray than a mist. Okay, so you see the idea of it. It's coming out sort of like oil at the moment, really. It is. So just that nozzle. Oh, there we go. That's a bit too. Yeah, it seems very difficult to get it. It's a jet. I move the nozzle 1mm and I get a spray. There we go. That's what I wanted. Like a sort of a spray jet, not a single jet, but a sort of not a mist. Because the problem with a mist is it's just drifting off onto the flower bed. It'll probably kill the plants or something. So right. So let's get this all up there. Now I haven't actually got my dust sheet that far over, so I'm going to have to get the hose out in a bit and clean up a bit. Okay, that's going on well. I'm pleased with that. Be interesting to see how that dries and what it looks like when it's dry. It looks like I've sprayed the underside with engine oil, is what it looks like. It's just a wet, shiny kind of coating, oily coating. So let's do some more of this and just see. Do some of these bits here. I mustn't get it anywhere near the brake discs. Now I want to try and do that arm there, but I'm going to have to go at a bit of an angle here. I don't want to get it anywhere near the... See, this hub carrier here is a bit rusty, but I mean I have got disc shields there, but where the pads are, the disc's visible. So I think that might be a good one for brushing on that thicker stuff, because then it won't sort of dribble or spray onto the brake discs. So right, now let's get up in there. Ugh. Okay, so two things. One, the wind carries the mist, and despite gloves and goggles, I did get a face full of that just now. The second thing is it smells like a sheep farm, because it is made of sheep wool oil. It smells of sheep. So yeah, it's the smell of the countryside, really. It's not too bad. It's just an interesting smell, really. If you've ever gone walking out on the moors, the Dartmoor or Yorkshire moors or that, and there are sheep, it's that smell. Okay, so okay, right. Right, good. Okay, well, so far I'm very pleased with that. Now this is interesting. This is where I put that big area of the Q rust. It's dried up actually. There's a bit there you can see, right in the corner, but this area here is dry. It has actually evaporated off, and doesn't actually really look like it's done anything. It was supposed to have turned the rust black, but I'm just not seeing it. I'm yeah, very surprised actually. A company like Hammerite that have been around for many years. The product just difficult to apply and doesn't actually seem to have really done anything. Okay, well that would make another interesting video, wouldn't it, by various rust treatments, Q rust, Generalite, and the Rust-Oleum treatment, and just try them out on an old brake disc or something, a rusty piece of steel, and just see which one actually works the best. Right, I'm just going to try and continue to get this up under here. Now, what I'm going to do, because I don't want to get any of this on my camera, I'm going to stop filming and start filming again in about 10 minutes when I've kind of done pretty much all of this. Okay, right. I've used probably about a quarter of a bottle. Quarter of this. This is a 1 litre bottle, I think. It doesn't actually say on it, I don't think. Pretty sure it's a 1 litre bottle. So yeah, it is dripping. So the sort of dust sheet thing is quite important, really, because then you can just scoop it all up and throw it away. But that's what it's looking like. I mean, it just looks like I've had some sort of terrible diff explosion or sump failure. There's just wet, slimy, shiny oil everywhere. Okay, I did end up carefully doing the back plates and the hub carriers very carefully. Make sure I didn't get any on the brake discs. I've done up here. I mean, it's running down this exhaust silencer. Obviously, I've got some on the exhaust pipe here. That will probably burn off once that gets hot. Apparently, this stuff can take a very, very high temperature. You never know. It might actually sort of help to rust-proof the exhaust, which is apparently meant to be a stainless steel exhaust, but it's not a very good grade of stainless, because you can see up there it is quite rusty. Maybe at some point I will change the exhaust for a decent sort of sports exhaust, but I don't want to be that neighbour with the loud exhaust. Okay, so I have to be a bit careful what I pick if I do change the exhaust. So what I've done here, hopefully the camera will pick that up. It's very dark up there. Yeah, you can't really, yeah, just about see it. That surface rust sort of up there, I've sprayed, given that a really good spraying sort of up behind here. I mean, I'll take this bumper off at some point and have a good look behind there, but I've tried to kind of get it right up in there, spraying it right up into the sort of the kind of the voids that are hidden up behind the plastic bumper. I've also sprayed it down the inner sort of sills, underneath the sills where the plastic sill protectors meet. And then what I'm going to do in a second video, so this will be a part 1 video, and I'll do a second video and I'll actually remove the wheel arch liners and the sill covers and repeat the whole process with whatever lies underneath those. So you'll notice some areas here I've not bothered doing too much because they're actually aluminium, so the diff and everything is aluminium. The cradle underneath is aluminium as far as I know. The tank guard's aluminium. The exhaust system is meant to be stainless, but everything else is steel and can rust. So that's what it looks like. Okay, and in 6 months' time, I'll get under here again, and we'll see if it's worse or better or still looking shiny and protected. So what I'm going to do now is just dig out that thicker grease and just use the paintbrush to sort of apply some on the areas with more heavy corrosion, and just see what it looks like. Really see what it is. Is it brushable, or is it so thick that you have to kind of smear it on with a cloth or something? So I'll have a look and see what that looks like now. Right, I'm just going to have a look at this stuff now. Moto grease. Okay. Ugh. Oh God. Looks awful. Looks like some kind of green slime. Let's give it a poke with a paintbrush. Oh, okay, alright. So it is, yeah. I mean, it's just like grease, really. This is the stuff where they recommend leaving it to stand in some hot water if the outdoor temperature is quite low. This is actually fine for brushing on like this today, but if I do use any of this during the winter months, I'll probably have to warm it up. But yeah, it's pretty sticky, gooey stuff. So let me see if I can do anything with that underneath. Everything's been pretty well coated with this now. Top tip here: when you've finished with the spray gun, just get a cloth and just sort of unscrew, take the nozzle hose out and hold it up in the air, and then just spray the remainder back in the bottle, and then everything in the tube, which is actually quite a lot of Lanoguard, ended up going back in. Saves wasting it. And then what I've done is chuck that in a bucket there. I'll put some hot soapy water in there and just pump that through, because there have been reports of the nozzle sort of blocking up. If you leave the Lanoguard in the trigger, it can block it up, and then it won't spray. So I'll give that a good clean out, ready for next time. Okay, let's see what we can do with this stuff here. Now I've taken my gloves off because I've got the stuff all over, but I should be okay using this without gloves. I've got the paintbrush. I don't really know where to brush it on. I mean, it's kind of these areas here. I don't know if it's gonna work on areas that are already really wet. Yeah, no, it's going on. It's going on. It's okay. That's pretty good, actually. That gives a really nice thick coating on it. I have to say, so far, very unimpressed with Q-Rust, but very impressed with the Lanoguard. Yeah. It's not cheap, but it is worth it. Okay, this what's this transverse link arm here? Hasn't really got any. It's not got much rust on it, but I'm just using this as an example because it's a piece that hasn't been drenched in the Lanoguard. I'll just paint that on and just see what it's like putting it onto an area that doesn't have any of the liquid already on it. Yeah, you can see there, that's pretty good. That does make a nice kind of coating there. Okay. Right, let's have another look. Let's put some of this up here. I just want to get those areas that I put the Q-Rust on earlier, only because they were areas that were corroding. You see, what's happening here is it's sort of brushing off the other stuff. Yeah, I think what I maybe need to do is wait for all this normal Lanoguard to dry and then apply this grease. I think it's really for areas that you haven't sprayed with the liquid, for areas that maybe have heavier corrosion. Yeah, I went a bit crazy with the spray gun, just basically drenched the whole lot, and yeah, that would be interesting when that heats up. Actually, that's going to be pretty smoky. So yeah, I mean, look, for example, here's a this. Oh dear, I just flicked Lanoguard all over myself. Oh god, I didn't go on the camera. Right, there was a bit of Lanoguard spray actually on the lens. Hopefully that hasn't ruined this video. Yeah, try and do it with the camera in one hand and the brush in another. I'll have to dig out my little mini tripod. It's too low under here for the big tripod, but I've got one of those kind of gorilla pod things somewhere where I could sort of hang the camera kind of underneath the car. Try to make sure I remember to take it off again before I drive away. But yeah, okay. I think we're done for today. I think we're done. This stuff is good. It is good. It is pretty gloopy and horrible, but I think what I need to do is wait for the other liquid stuff to dry, because what's happening is this stuff isn't really sticking properly because it's already soaking wet with the other oily liquid. So I'll wait for the rest of it to dry, and then maybe next weekend I'll get up under here with this and just see what it looks like, and I'll also do the inner wheel arches and everything like that. Okay, so very impressed with this, not impressed with this or this. In the next video I will remove the inner wheel arch liners and remove the sill covers at the bottom, inspect behind those, Lanoguard, and hopefully use more of this greasy stuff, and also have a look at what I've done today and just sort of see what that looks like, and just see if the Lanoguard stuff kind of dries to some sort of black coating or whatever it's meant to dry to. Okay, right, okay, I'm going to leave it there for today. This is part 1, and we'll continue this in part 2. I hope that video was useful. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye.